Welcome to the Talking with Top podcast, where I'm your host, Todd Carter. We'll be talking to extraordinary people who are making a difference in their community. Today's sponsors is 93 Michi Beats. Forget your producer. My beats are made by Michi. Michi is operating in the Atlanta and the Birmingham area. Today on the show, we are excited to have our special guest, Jordan Ray Smith. Jordan went from being in the military to acting. So today he will be telling his story on how he transitioned into acting. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and support our podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Right. So we are going to jump right in. So Jordan, when did you know that you wanted to become an actor?
So I've probably always wanted to act since I was a kid. Since I was probably 7, 8 years old, I always wanted to be an actor. But I never really took it serious until probably until like 2 years ago. So until I was about 26 years old is when I started to take it serious.
Okay. All right. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right. So tell me how I did read where you been in the military as we stated earlier. So tell me, how did you transition from your military career into acting?
Yeah, so I got out the army in I believe it was May 2021, or actually April 1st, 2021. You would have thought it was a joke, right? April Fool's Day. I was like, is this really gonna be real? But I got out then, and then when I got out then in 2000 May 2021, I had actually read this book called The Decision by Kevin Hart, and he was pretty much just saying, whatever it is that you want to do in life, you need to go after it. Whatever that is. And there's my daughter back there. But whatever, when I read that book, it just made me realize, just go after whatever it is that you really want. And I got to thinking, what is it that you really want? And for a while I was playing around and I was like, well, I'll go invest in real estate, or I'll wholesale houses, I'll do real estate, and I was creating all these different jobs for myself. But then I really got down to it and I'm like, what do you really want to do? If you could do anything in the world, what is it? And it took me back to my child mind, and it was being an actor. And even one time, speaking of my daughter too, one time we were sitting there watching Iron Man and she asked me, it was right before I got out the military, she asked me while we were watching it, she was like, Dad, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I'm 27 years or 26 years old at the time. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a soldier at that time. So I'm thinking this is what I want to be when I grow up. But it made me realize, I looked at the TV and I told her, and I was like, I want to be Iron Man. That's what I want to be. I want to be an actor. It just kind of took me back to that mindset of where I was when I was a kid, where being an actor was okay. A lot of times adults, I think they kind of forget about those dreams because they think, I got to go to work so I can pay these bills and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, at the end of the day, if you really go and do what you want to do, your bills and everything will be taken care of in between. But you just got to, go after it. So I think the transition went pretty well. I got out the Army in May. In November, I showed up as an extra in the movie PPP Long Gone with Brave Films. And then from there, they gave me another role. Then I got another role, started going to classes, got another role in the movie, and then just started working with other directors. That group that you mentioned earlier, that Best New Tubi Movies group, that has a huge impact on how I've gotten here. Even like Tubi Talk on Clubhouse, it's another networking area where people can network. But really, the power of the internet, I guess, has really just made everything not so hard.
Right. Absolutely. I know that for myself from just doing my podcast. You'll be amazed at, the reach that you have and the people that you're able to do, even to start to interview actor and actresses. I'm just like, wow. Like 6 months ago, you wouldn't even told me that I would be doing that into what I wanted to do, because I never even thought about that part, but it started to just kind of like fall in my lap. So I am super excited about that as well. So I do get that. So going into our next question. So what advice would you give aspiring actors and actresses, like people who want to, break into the business?
Yeah, I would just say go for it. I'm still new myself. They say it takes 20 years to become an actor, so until I get to that point, I'll probably say I'm new. But I mean, even actors at that point say they are. But I would say if you're trying to break into the business, right now is a really good time to break into the business because Hollywood, all the actors are striking because they got that big deal with the actors and the writers and the union. They're striking, so it's opening up opportunity. Also, too, you see a lot of the big A-list actors coming over to like Tubi, to the independent streaming services. Also, they realized that they weren't getting as much ownership over those movies in the past. They might have only been paid a little bit up front, but then when the movie gets paid or played 30 years later, the actor may be broke, but the filmmaker's still making money. So now they're really starting to understand the concept of owning the film. And I think it's a really good time for anybody to get into acting or filmmaking in general, just because it's so open. Like back in the day, you used to have to go to Hollywood or New York or somewhere to audition. But now you're in Atlanta, right?
No, I'm
Or,
in Alabama.
or in Alabama. So in Alabama, like it doesn't matter where you are, Alabama, Atlanta, Florida, Virginia, there's somebody shooting a movie. I know Marquise, I think Flowboy Films is what his production company is called, but he's actually in Alabama, and their
Oh,
production
yeah.
company is there and they make movies. But I was just talking to somebody the other day, one of my old soldiers, and they had asked me, how do I get into this industry? Because it seems kind of hard to do. And it's like
Right.
right now, the power of the internet and the power of Tubi and the fact that people know, hey, I can be a creator and I can put my movie out there and it'll hit streaming instantly. Everybody around the country is doing it, and they're doing it really fast. So no matter where you are, you can do it. The first thing I would say if you want to get into it is a good place
Oh
would
no,
be
not me.
uh, well, a good place to network would be one of those Facebook groups, like those Tubi groups on Facebook, Best
Okay.
New Tubi Movies group on Facebook, because you can network with the filmmakers. But if not, if you don't network there, then just Google a acting class near you. Google a acting class on whatever city you're in. Go to that class, and then usually from that class, you'll see casting calls, or you'll talk with somebody who will talk about casting calls. You could also even just search on Facebook or Instagram casting calls, and then just submit your headshot, learn what a monologue is, and just start going to auditions. I've been to so many auditions and they've told me no so many times. Like earlier, I probably talked to 10 directors and 9 of them told me no, but one of them told me yeah. And I
There you
mean,
go.
the one that told me yes, they had the biggest project out of all of them. So it was actually the best thing that could have happened for me anyways. But it's just, you gotta go. You're gonna get told no 1,000
Right.
times, but you gotta be willing to go through that, because when it comes to acting, it's really the reps that make, that's when you get better. When you get to that 86 shot, it's the repetitions that you get in it. Because like watching my first movie, then my second movie, watching those performances, you can see
The
the
growth.
growth.
Yeah,
Mhm. But this
absolutely.
is a time for anybody that wants to be an actor. This is the time for it. I promise you that. Or anything filmmaking in general. If you do makeup, hair, maybe if you cater food. Because movie sets, they need everything. They need food, they need drinks, they need makeup,
Wow.
they need hair, it's kind of like a little city in itself. Um,
Thank you for all of that information. I never even looked at it from that point of view, and I know that a lot of my viewers, they are business owners. Is like who I kind of, you know, um, market and things like that. So thinking, and as you was talking, I was thinking about someone that I work with, which name is Jordan as well. He is wanting to be an actor, and you kind of touched on some things that I had told him to do too. I was like, Google auditions near you. And I do know that last week Matthew McConaughey was here somewhere in Hoover filming a film, and so yeah. So thank you for all of those tidbits that I would definitely. He watched the show, so definitely he'll take a look at what you're saying, because that was some real good information. And I don't think a lot of people give you that good of information. Like they'll probably tell you go do this and go do that. I mean, you broke it down really good, so I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of websites, like most people probably tell you to go to Backstage or castingcalls.com or things like
Hmm.
that. But a lot of times some of those agencies may want some experience, or it may be, I don't, it's been a challenge for me to get roles that way. So what I've done is I've just worked, through the independent sector. And it's been great that way. But not to say you can't do that. I'm
Right.
just saying there is other options other than those main large options that we all know of. Because most people, when they think of being in the movie, they think, oh, I want to be on Netflix. And it's
Right.
like, that's great to be on Netflix and Stranger Things, but I could also go be in a movie on Tubi or Amazon Prime that gets seen just as, by just as many people that watch that movie. But
That's awesome. All right. Okay. So what's been um your favorite role so far that you played?
and I think I'm filming this in the fall time. But so far, the character I've done so far that has been my favorite has probably been Cheekbone from PPP Long Gone. He was just I'm a real funny and outgoing type of person. So it was just really easy for me to relate to and kind of act a fool because that's what I do anyways.
Okay.
But one of my favorite characters I think is going to be coming up. I'll be playing, he's kind of a roughneck guy, a friend, but he
Following you now and trying to find everything that you're in. So. But
I know
it's good
I
for me
probably
though.
wasn't supposed to. I probably wasn't supposed to say that.
I tell you what, I
But
can cut it. I'll take that out.
yeah, it'll. I know these podcasts. You get on the podcast and you say something, and it's you're like, dang. But yeah, it's. I think that'll be one of my favorite roles, just because I'm really able to. He was prior military too, so I'm really able to connect to the character that way. So
Okay. All right. Okay, let's see here. Hopefully, my next question is not what I've already asked you. Oh, yeah, this is a good one because I do want to know about this. So, do you think that artists has a responsibility to convey a positive message through their work?
oh yes, absolutely. Um, The reason why I say that is because as an artist, you are, well, hold on. Now I kind of got to take back what I say because I'm saying that. Well, so I got to ask you a question, I guess. What do
Okay.
you mean? What exactly do you mean by positive? Like, what do you mean by that?
Like some people, actors, they won't take certain roles because I guess like of the image that they have um did over the years. Like, how important is that to you? I would let me just say, for me, it probably wouldn't be important in the beginning because I would be trying to get in everything, no matter if I'm playing a crackhead or what. I would just be trying to work and get myself out there. But I guess so. Let me. I was interviewing another actress, so let me just say this, so we won't, since you're still new. Um, what do you think about when people have made it? One of the things that she said, and her name is Jessica Scozzolo, is who I interviewed last week. She feels like once you get to A status, she feels like what's the use of getting there if you're not going to pull somebody else up or help somebody else? So she feels that the people who really deserve to be there should be the people who are willing to help others get there. So how do you feel about that?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to like the roles, there is some roles that I'm uncomfortable with. Like I've had a role before where like the character they wanted me to play was a rapist, and I wasn't
Oh,
really comfortable with that role, and I didn't end up doing that one.
okay.
Which some people, I do have some friends who they're really successful at acting, and they have done those roles and nobody really holds that against them. But then also too, like I'm married, so there's sometimes there's roles where you have to be a little bit more, intimate, things like that. And I don't accept those roles, which
Okay.
sometimes people do say that could hinder your career, or some
Yeah.
directors say, oh, if you
Yeah.
won't sleep with a woman on set, you'll never make it. They say stuff like that, but in the back of my mind, I always know, as long as I'm doing what I feel comfortable with doing, um, whatever whatever I want out of this is gonna come. It is gonna happen because I'm taking the right steps. I'm a believer in God, so I know
Yeah.
God is going to take care of me. I know God's not like, oh, yeah, you must sleep with all these women on camera to be famous, because there's actors that they don't do that. And they're still,
Absolutely.
they've made it to that level. But one thing I have noticed, because I have celebrity, I have A-level teachers, and one thing I do notice about them is there's not a lot of reach back, but at the end of the day, it's I can't, because some of the advice I get from them sometimes is like, one of my celebrity teachers had told me, Brandon T. Jackson told me one time, he was like, what Chris Tucker told me one time, he said, just keep going, man, just keep working. And I'm like, that's the advice. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the type of advice that comes, but you can't really be mad at it, because it's like, or another one, like a celebrity, Marquise Moore, who he's one of my acting coaches, and he's been in BMF, ATL, tons, Walking Dead, tons of stuff. And sometimes he might give me some feedback, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like, just keep working. And it's like, really, man, that's all you got? And you think, when you're at this level, like, I know that guy could, like, why can't you just bring me to Hollywood? Why can't you, but it's like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they may not really be in that much control, because they're just, even though they're A-level actor, I don't know why I'm doing this.
It's okay.
But they're A-level actor, they're still the hired help. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're still just in, I'm not degrading any actors, but you're just the actor. You're not the director. You're not the casting director. You're not the audio technician. You're not the light. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You really have a minimal job on the scale.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of times, us people kind of looking in, we think like, well, that, like, Brandon T. Jackson should be able to get me in any movie. He's a celebrity. Why can't he?
Right.
Well, you got to remember, Brandon T. Jackson's he's not the producer. He's not the
Right.
director. He's not the casting director. He's not, you know what I mean? Shoot, the director might have a child that maybe their niece or nephew, they already got that role for them,
Right.
you really just never know the situation. So I think sometimes we think that, but we don't really realize, unless Will Smith is producing his own movie, Will Smith can't put his son in that movie.
Right.
But
Right. I think, as you were saying that, I was thinking about, I read some article, well, it was discussing how, um, some of the roles that, let's just say, melanated people get in Hollywood versus like their budget. And so I want to say it was Sanaa Lathan and
you're
I don't want
correct.
to get okay. And that she was talking about, it was like a budget versus Friends. And the people on the show just were not getting, like what Friends would have gotten. And I was just amazed by that, because me look on the outside looking in, I'm looking in like, you just feel like, okay, they made it to this hit show, but That doesn't mean that they had the whole budget for the show, that they were being paid, all because we like the show. And, you know, we're looking at it from the standpoint of that they're made it. They're in Hollywood. They're being, and it's like, but their money is not, you know, to the liking of another show. Or sometimes that show get you know, sometimes it don't get picked up, and it takes years for them to get, you know, that show to come alive, so to speak, because somebody have to, the director, whoever, you know, pitch it to the person, have to go back again and pitch the same story again and later, and somebody decide, okay, yeah, you know. So I was just amazed at all of that, things that work behind the scenes that we never know. We just go to the movies and we just see our favorite person and just think that, oh, it would be so nice to do that, but you don't know all the hard work, and like you said earlier, all the no's.
Yeah. Anybody that I'm sure anybody that you see on the main screen that we know as a celebrity is they had to have been told no so many times. I mean, we hear them say that all the time, you know, but you don't really think about it when you're going through the process. When you're going through the process, I'm always just like, man, when am I gonna get a yes?
Yeah.
Today I finally got one, you know. I mean, I get them frequently, but it seems like forever, you know. But you always would want more than you get. But at the end of the day, that's just how it is. You know, you reach out to 10 people and one person to tell you, yeah, that's how it goes.
Right. And it's like life, you know, like in life we don't always get things, whether you're on a job and, you know, you didn't get the promotion that you think you want, you know, you should have gotten, and things like that. So I think it's just something that just happened no matter what industry that you're in. You just have to stay in the fight and keep going. So what would you say to people when you just say you get so many no's? Then I mean, like, what's your advice to overcome those no's?
Well, then you got to go to the drawing board and you got to figure out, okay, why am I getting all these no's? So not too long ago, I was trying to figure out so me, I'm in Kansas and we're not known for making movies, right? Kansas is
Right,
known for like the Wizard of Oz and Yellow Brick Road, you know a Dorothy, you click your heels 3 times and you go wherever. But
right,
the biggest thing I've been trying to do is I've been trying to get into Detroit's network because they're just filming movie after movie after movie out there. And for the longest time, well, I flew out to Detroit, auditioned, got a role, but it ended up being a role that I didn't want to do, like I was talking about earlier.
mm-hmm,
Um, and so I didn't think it was going to work out. And, you know, I did this last year, so it's already been a year. And I had been reaching out to directors over and over and over. They just kept telling me no. So then what I did was I had to think, well, why are all these people telling me no? You know,
right,
and I just kind of had to look at myself. And then I had to realize, you know, then I kind of took everything into consideration. One of the directors had reached out to me and she said, well, you know, your headshot looks like you're serious, but then your actor reel, it shows you're a funny guy. Um, so they couldn't even really make sense of who I was at that point. So I realized I needed to rebrand myself because for some reason, you got to remember too, when it comes to acting or whatever you're doing, most of the time people are just judging you off of first impression.
mm-hmm,
So if your first impression isn't set up correctly, now they already got this image in their head about you, and it could be incorrect. More than likely, it's probably incorrect. But I
right,
just had to kind of try to paint this perfect image. So I realized, okay, actor or people in Detroit are really into the sex appeal of actors. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're into. They're into a handsome man. They're into the can you be a thug? Can you be a gangster? You know,
right,
that's what they're looking for. So I had to cater to that. So I had to go out. I had to get all new photos, headshots. I had to, you know, work out, get my body looking right for those photos. I had to learn a different monologue that placed me in that genre of movie. And then once I did all that, I think I did that. I just did everything last month, or probably not even last month, like maybe 2 weeks ago. And then I just landed my first role in Detroit today.
Awesome. Well,
So
congratulations.
yeah. But it's kind of crazy how that works. But sometimes when you get all those no's, I mean, that's when you gotta go back and look at yourself and say, okay, what am I not bringing to these people for them to say yes? Because if 10 people tell you no, okay, that's fine. But if 30 people tell you no, then maybe it's something on your end that you could fix. And then once I fix those simple things like an image of myself or the monologue I decided to audition, once I changed those, they looked at me totally different. They no longer looked at me as the funny guy. They looked at me as, oh, this guy could play a thug, but when I'm sitting here talking like this, they probably can't see me as playing a thug because I'm smiling and laughing and, I'm goofy. But then when I give you that stare,
I see it.
it's like, oh, this guy might have what it takes. But it's just, it's everybody's judging you. So you gotta figure out how do you manipulate their mind to want you, one of the best books I ever read was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's an amazing book. And it has made me a master manipulator. And it's not a bad thing. I know it sounds bad. She's like, that's bad.
It do. It really do.
But ultimately life, whether it's sales, whether it's relationships, no matter what it is, life is manipulation. It's a persuasion. Manipulation, the word sounds bad, but if I sit here and I tell you, if I'm talking to my wife and I tell her every day she's pretty, she's beautiful, she's going to think she's pretty, she's beautiful. And in return, she's going to love me and she's going to want to hear what I have to say because I have nothing but good things to say to her. Right. And that's kind of what that book just it teaches you. Like, if you genuinely care about someone, genuinely act and do things for someone because you really care to, then you're going to get that person in return, no matter what it is. Like, if I'm like you're genuinely sitting here listening to me and I can tell that you are. So in return, I'm going to respect you, and I'm always going to work with Todd, and I'm always going to do our podcast because I know Todd, she listens to me and she respects me. You know what I'm saying? So that's all that book teaches you. It sounds bad when you come off to somebody and you're like, oh yeah, I'm a master manipulator or something like that. But it's like, at the end of the day, that's what life is. It's just like with sales. If you go to a car lot, they want to sell you a car. So instead of them bringing all them numbers out to you, if they really wanted to sell you that car, the fastest way to sell you that car would be maybe, I don't know, maybe if you got a kid with you, maybe they pick up your kid, they give them a popsicle, and then they talk about the new child technology they have with the car. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's like, you're showing you genuinely care about the baby. You genuinely care about the people. I don't know. But that's a good book. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
No, I'm sorry. Say that again.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Absolutely. When you were saying that, I was thinking about how I do when I'm getting my subscribers. I mean, like, you have to talk to people and you have to sell yourself. So that's what I do. I mean, it's not just about saying to people, like, share, comment. Okay, that's nice, but people want to see a little bit of your personality. So I sell it to people. I let them know what it's about. I tell them a little bit of the story, not too much so that they'll tune into my channel. But yeah, you have to do all of that. So I do that as well. So I can definitely relate to that.
Oh,
and in turn, people tell me their life stories. Like, sometimes I'm at work and the person cried. I'm like, oh Lord, like, it's just, I guess because I have like that little calming part of me or whatever, and we're talking and I'm actually engaged and listening because that is part of who I am. One thing I didn't mention is that I'm a person who always like to help other people find their purpose in life, because I feel like when you know your purpose in life, that's just so awesome to operate in your purpose, which I clearly do every day, so I'm big on that. And my goal is to write a an ebook about, just trying to help other people find their purpose in life, because that's what I'm big on. So yeah, that's a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
about.
Yeah, that's great. And that's, I mean, shoot, I hope everybody finds their purpose. Cause boy, I remember when I was dry sweeping them oil spots in the army. I know that wasn't my purpose. So
Right. So when you say dry sweeping, what do you mean? Like what was that job? What does that mean?
well, I was a truck driver in the army, but when I say dry sweeping, I'm talking about like when there's oil on the ground and you pour some kitty litter on it and you gotta rub it with your foot to get the oil stains out. We used to have to make sure like when you're in the military, everything has to look clean. It has to look nice. It has to be lined up perfectly. So if you want to go home on the weekend, when they come and they inspect, there shouldn't be any oil or anything underneath any
Oh.
of the trucks. And yeah, you got old trucks, so you know they're leaking. So you got to clean that up. So we'd be out there with some kitty litter making it disappear.
Well, thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Um, let's see here. So you kind of did this already. So do you have any funny stories, like when you're doing your auditions, like anything that just was funny in an audition?
Um, I know I had one audition that was, I don't know why, but it was just so weird to me. I think the funniest thing I did, I was so nervous. I don't know why it was, but I was extremely nervous. And when I was in there, I had a point, like towards another character. When I did, my fingers were like shaking so bad. And then when I did it, the casting director had just stopped the audition and he was like, calm down. And they made me go through this whole breathing routine. Then I had to start back over. But that was probably one of the most awkward auditions I ever had. I don't know why I was so nervous, but I was. I ended up getting a role in that movie, but then I didn't do that movie anyways because the people didn't work out for me. But maybe that's why I was nervous in there because those people weren't really for me anyway. So who knows?
I'm glad you said that, because I think that what's for you, you don't have to chase it down. You don't have to hold on tight to it. And so, one of the things that I've been listening to you say is that you're not afraid to turn down a role. You're not afraid to say no to things that just does not represent who you are. And I love that, because what you said to me and what I heard in this interview is that, my family comes first, who I am as a person, and my love for God comes first. And you're saying that, yes, I want to, be in Hollywood. This is something that I'm passionate about, but no, I don't want to go against who I am inside. And so I just love that, because you're saying no. Well, you said you got a lot of no's, but you're also saying no to things that you're just not willing to compromise on. And I think that goes very far, because, sometimes I guess people will just do whatever it is, whether they'll have a scene that is, like you say, you don't want to have those type of scenes because you are married, and, you decided not to take the role of that character just because you didn't want to portray that image. Because I think sometimes the people in the world, they'll be thinking of you as that person.
Oh yeah. Yeah. People I mean when you like I could sit here and think about Denzel Washington and when I think about him, I think of Frank Lucas or I'm thinking of Training Day or I'm thinking of Man on Fire, but really those people aren't who he is, you know what I mean? But those are the people that I'm thinking about. And like I had one of my friends, she's an actor, and she just made a post not too long ago and she was saying how it was kind of hard for her right now because she's having to turn down everything because when she first started, she was just saying yes to everything. So everybody was, of course, putting her in all those roles where they were kind of just exposing her body and things like that.
Mm,
Now,
yeah.
she's to the point to where she can really pick and choose whatever role she does, but so many people have seen her in that image. That's how they still want to see her.
Right.
So now it's kind of becoming a challenge for her to say no to those roles because that's all people wanted to see. But now, she's starting to realize that, but it happens out there all the time. People, I mean, even Hollywood's doing it. Even if you ever seen the movie South Central? No, so like Glenn Plummer, he played in the movie South Central. And his biggest thing was I talked to him one time in Clubhouse, and he was telling all of us younger actors the reason why he left Hollywood was due to the fact that they always typecasted him. He would either be a drug dealer or a crackhead or a homeless man. That's how he was typecasted, and he kind of got tired of that. And honestly, if you don't tell people no, they're gonna continue to cast you like that. Me, the way I look, somebody might think. I mean, I'm mixed with black and white, but they might think I could look like a Middle Eastern. You know what I mean? So if I showed up in a movie as a Middle Eastern person, they would probably continue to cast me like that over and over and over. And if I didn't have an issue with that, then that's what I would do. Just like I've seen actors who they may play a rapist back to back to back to back to back, and it's like you said, that image, it gets put in people's head, and they start to think like that about you, which it's not real. But I mean, I got daughters, so I'm not trying to have them grow up and be like, oh, my dad was in, I don't know. I want them to be proud about everything.
This is not how you want to have your career being in those roles like that. So I could see that, because like, who wants to play that guy? So yeah, I mean, because it's just that's awful to do something like that. So I don't think I would want to play that. So I never thought about, if I was out there, like what type of roles that I would say no to, or because I'm so private. So I don't even know how I would do, because I could probably see myself saying no to a lot of things too. So just never thought about it. But yeah, I'm glad that you are, fulfilling your dreams and having such a good spirit about it. And that's just awesome. It really is. So I think I have one more question for you. Well, basically, I think you kind of told me this already. Like, what was your big break? Like, the one that just, you just was like, okay, I'm really doing this acting thing. Like, what was your big break?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've had a big break yet. I don't know if are you talking about like my mindset?
Yeah, because I mean, even with these little things, you'll just be like, everything is good, but like, so for you, I guess my question is, what was the one thing, like when you got called back for something or whatever, and you was just like, yes, like, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, and I knew this is what I was gonna do.
Okay, I'll take that.
So I guess really it was really the first time I went out to go be an extra. The first time I met Devon Bray. He's a director that I work for here in Wichita doing films with Bray Films. And he was the first person I ever met that had a larger vision than me. And then once I met his family, everyone in his family had a larger vision than me. And I was like, man, I gotta connect with these people.
There you go.
And it really just became a relationship type of thing that I was chasing at first. And then, I mean, obviously they were filming and stuff like that. But then once I got around them, that energy is just so amazing and so toxic. It's like, it just makes you want to stay there. So now I'm, on a production team, and I'm learning audio, lighting,
there you go.
Assistant the director, assistant the co-director, the script supervisor, doing all those things. But really, I guess the moment I knew I was gonna do this and I was gonna do it for real was when I was sitting in that room and Devon Bray was talking to me, and I mean, he wasn't talking to just me, he was talking to everybody, but for some reason I felt like he was talking to just me, and like those words were coming in, and I could just, it was that moment I knew, like,
yeah,
this is what we're doing. And from there I chased it down, built a relationship with them. They showed me how to they're viral geniuses. So they showed me how to build a network online, and from there it's just been taking off. So I mean, look, we're in Alabama with you right now doing a podcast. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
God is good.
Absolutely. I think that God will put you into spaces with the right people that He know that you need. And it seems like when you were saying that the energy that the person has. So I always feel like you don't meet people by chance, especially when they're like really genuine and things like that. I always think that that is by purpose. So I feel like you meeting that person, you were meant to meet that person. And then also not just to meet that person, but it looks like you would develop a friendship and that you're learning. And so he is, providing things for you. You have to build a team. In anything that you're doing, you have to build a team. And that's one thing that I was watching something on YouTube just saying how you don't do anything alone. Like you've been acting, you're going to get support from your wife when she's taking care of the kids while you're away. You have to, everybody play a role in it for you to do what it is that you do. And so what I did for myself is after I saw this little thing on just how to, get more watchers, people watching you and things like that, you have to build a team. I started to write down a list of everybody that was on my team and what they did. And then I started to think, well, what do I do on the team? And then I thought about what I do best, which is I'm a connector. I'm always the person who is going to strategize and tell you how to get things done. So that's some of the things that I like to do. But yeah, you have to have a team that you can rely on because you don't just do nothing by yourself. So it's good that you're developing your team so that you can go beyond where you
Oh
want to
yeah,
go.
surround yourself with people that are better than you, for real. Once I got rid of the negative people in my life that brought in all the negative energy, nothing but good, positive people been coming in like every day. I just cut somebody off earlier, and then I met you. Like it's that real. I'm not lying.
You You, I laugh because, and I'm not gonna say this because I know people are watching, but you are so right. Sometime God would allow you'll have to make that break. Whether you at fault or they're at fault or whatever, it'll just dissolve, and then you will be placed instantly into other people come into your life, and you're just like, oh wow. But I know that's not by chance. So I get what you're saying on that, and I totally agree with that, and I'm excited about that. I really do, and that's why I try to always pray over everything that I do, and about especially when you're doing business with people and things like that. I'm starting to pray more about that because just really you have to do it. So yeah. All right. Well, this has been such a pleasure. Oh, I forgot to tell you to do one thing, and is that I like to have like a gratitude moment where I say one thing that I'm thankful for. So I'll give you a minute to think about something that you would like to say for your gratitude moment. And I know it's like me just throwing it at you. I'm sorry about that. So I'll just give you a moment while
Yeah, I know what I'm grateful for.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah, the thing that I'm grateful for is definitely my wife and my daughters. I got another baby coming on the way as well, but without them two, I wouldn't be here just because they're the reason I've done everything that I've done. And they're the people that really keep me in check. They're the people that let me know when I'm messing up, let me know when I'm doing great. So those are the people I'm thankful for, and those are the people I work for. So
I like that. Let me just say this. I really like the fact that you are a young man that have integrity. I can just tell from talking to you how you light up and how you spoke about your wife and things like that. Thank you for that. Thank you for showing that to my viewers because sometime in life we're not seeing that. And for you to be as young as you are, showing up in a way that sometimes I don't want to make this negative, but sometimes older men don't know how to show up like you're showing up. And I can just tell that from the things that we have said in this conversation. And I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I mean, you have been so upfront in how you love your family and how you are being the best person that you can be in terms of your character. It just came out. I could see it, and how you decided to say on some things you're not settling, even though you want to be in this business and do things, you're not settling. And I love that. So keep doing that. Keep showing up as a strong person in that regard. And I love that you're a family man and you're putting it out there. So it's like you already letting people know I'm married. You know what I mean? So I love that because you're not hiding that. Sometimes I think when you're out there like that, they want you to hide that because they want women to be looking at how attractive you are and kind of sell that as well. And but you're saying, hey, okay, I'm gonna play all these different roles you want me to do, but I'm married. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. So my gratitude moment is that I'm just happy for I'm thankful for what God is doing in my life. Each and every day, I speak to people through my channel or just one on one, and I really I'm loving the moment that I'm in terms of being light to people sometime if they're down and things like that. One other thing I want to let you know is that I am a mental health advocate. That's something that I hold near and dear. Mental health is serious.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I did take a class to become an advocate for that. So I have enjoyed our time together. Thank you, Jordan Ray Smith, for coming and sharing your story with us. I hope that this conversation encourages personal growth by discovering the why behind the work of these extraordinary minds. I challenge all our listeners to explore self discovery. It is a great tool to begin healing and personal development. So, Jordan, tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media and support you.
Yes, you can find me as Jordan Ray Smith on Facebook, or the real Jordan Ray Smith on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, um, TikTok as well. And then you can watch my movies, PPP Long Gone, Joint Custody on Tubi. We also have a new Tubi original coming out this fall. It'll be called By Her. And then also, I just wanted to say thank you for being a mental health advocate. That's amazing right there. So
Yeah,
mental health is real, and it's a big thing to deal with for sure. So it's amazing that you take part in that.
absolutely. You can follow me on Facebook and TikTok as Todd Carter and on Instagram as Ivy Todd 10. This brings us to the end of this episode. If you have enjoyed our show, please subscribe, rate, like, and leave a comment on YouTube. Until next time, this is the one and only Todd Carter, a podcast that reveals extraordinary people who are making a difference in their communities. Hmm. Do you know what your purpose is? Go out there and discover it. Goodbye, y'all.